In Arkham Asylum, chaos erupts as every villain Gotham has ever known breaks free from their cells. Whether seasoned criminals or fresh faces to the underworld, they all unite with one singular purpose: facing the Dark Knight who stands alone in the corridor. The odds seem impossible, dozens against one, yet Batman remains calm. Even surrounded by this pandemonium, the asylum feels just like home to him. Without breaking a sweat, he begins neutralizing them simultaneously, moving through the crowd with precision that only years of experience can provide. However, something unexpected catches everyone's attention. The Joker, of all people, appears to be fighting alongside the Caped Crusader rather than against him.
Joker! What are you doing, you turncoat piece of...
This unusual alliance intrigues Commissioner Gordon, who is watching the scene unfold with CCTV cameras. Batman quickly reassures him that everything is under control, even though the situation seems anything but ordinary. Later, back in the depths of the Batcave, we discover the truth behind this mystery. Bruce Wayne stands face to face with the Joker once again, but this time, something reveals itself that changes everything. The maniacal clown was actually Dick Grayson wearing an advanced EMP mask, a piece of technology so sophisticated it could even fool Gotham's most dangerous criminals. They rejoin Tim Drake, the former Robin who now operates as Red Robin, along with Damian Wayne, the current Robin and Bruce's biological son. The team gathers around, touching up their appearances and preparing themselves for an important public event that awaits them. At a grand ceremony, Bruce takes the stage to deliver a powerful speech about how his company will heavily invest in Gotham's future. The crowd responds with enthusiasm, applauding his vision for the city's transformation. His words carry weight, promising real change for Gotham that has seen too much darkness. Following the speech, Bruce finds himself approached by a reporter from Gotham's Gazette. The journalist introduces him to Lincoln March, the current mayoral candidate who has been making waves in local politics. As they exchange pleasantries and discuss their mutual goals for the city, Bruce appears genuinely interested in what March has to offer. However, during their conversation, Bruce notices something troubling through his advanced bat technology that allows him to read lips from across the room. Commissioner Gordon appears worried, discussing a murder case involving multiple stab wounds to the victim's body. The details seem to disturb the veteran police officer more than usual. Bruce excuses himself from the pleasant conversation. As Gotham's protector, he cannot ignore when duty calls, especially when it involves such a disturbing crime scene that has clearly shaken even Gordon's experienced nerves. He arrives at the crime scene, but this time something is off, a bit different. The victim was stabbed about 50 times by what looks like assassin-level throwing knives. The knives were perfectly thrown to miss every major organ, making it as painful as possible. This wasn't just a murder, someone wanted this poor guy to suffer. Not only that, but there's a mysterious owl symbol embedded in the blades. The detective thinks this might be the work of owls from an old folklore, stories told to children about mysterious creatures watching over Gotham. However, Batman dismisses this without letting the officer finish his sentence. All this already seems very strange and unusual, but to put the cherry on top, the killers left a secret message for the detective. The note is clearly written and says, "Bruce Wayne will die tomorrow." A wild statement to be sure, but not as crazy as what follows. Right there, when the DNA test results come back, something shocking gets revealed. It's a perfect match for Dick Grayson's DNA found under the victim's fingernails. The discovery raises so many questions. How is Dick's DNA at this crime scene? Why would someone threaten Bruce Wayne specifically? And what did this owl symbol really mean? The next day, we see Bruce Wayne falling from Wayne Tower after an assassin kicked him through supposedly unbreakable glass. The windows were designed to handle anything, unless you know exactly how to hit them with perfect technique and great strength. As he falls down the floors, the city sunrise comes to greet him. We look at the story unfold, telling us how it all started 24 hours ago. Batman is fighting crime as usual, chasing after thieves who managed to steal a helicopter. They thought they had outsmarted the Dark Knight, but they clearly underestimated what he's willing to do. Batman isn't scared to pull a dangerous stunt when Gotham City is on the line. Without hesitation, he jumps his Batbike onto the wagon of a train that's coming straight at the helicopter. The criminals watch in shock as Batman uses the moving train like a ramp. From there, he runs through the front glass of the helicopter, going through with his bike and breaking everything in his path. Glass explodes everywhere as he crashes through the aircraft. All of this happens while he's talking to Alfred on his earpiece, staying calm and focused even in the midst of chaos. He informs him that Commissioner Gordon is at the morgue for an autopsy. Batman makes a quick decision. He sends a drone to scan the body remotely so he can analyze it from the Batcave. The drone discovers something abnormal about the victim's mouth. There's a fracture in his third molar that doesn't look natural. When they examine the tooth more closely, they discover something that makes everyone pause. The owl emblem is right there, embedded in the tooth. It's the same symbol that was carved into the throwing knives at the crime scene. Yet Batman still denies their existence, refusing to believe what the evidence clearly shows.
It's an Athenian owl. It appears on coins in ancient Greece. It was a symbol of wealth and power. Beware the court of owls that watches all the time, ruling Gotham from a shadowed perch behind granite and lime. They watch you at your heart. They watch you in your bed. Speak not a whispered word of them, or they'll send the talon for your head. I know the nursery rhyme, Jim, but the court of owls is just a legend.
To be blunt, so were you for a while.
They don't exist.
And you know that because?
I just know.
Well, whoever the killer is, he wants us to believe the ghost story. After their conversation, Dick enters the room intrigued on what's going on. Batman asks him about the victim, especially about how Dick's DNA ended up under the dead man's fingernails. Dick recalls the encounter clearly. He did see this John Doe before, remembering that the man grabbed his arm while the press were interviewing Dick about the ceremony a week ago. The whole interaction had seemed weird. He rambled scary stories about some entity that was everywhere, always watching. The stranger claimed they were on their way to hurt Bruce and his family. His eyes were wild with fear, like someone who had seen something terrible. But before Dick could properly speak to him and find out more, security quickly took the man away. They treated him like just another crazy person trying to cause trouble at a public event. Nobody thought much of it at the time. At the old Wayne Tower, Bruce has his meeting with Lincoln March. The two men find that they have a lot in common, both wanting a better future for Gotham. Lincoln seems genuine in his goals, talking about real plans to improve the city's infrastructure and reduce crime rates. As they speak and bond over their shared vision, the conversation flows naturally. Bruce finds himself impressed by Lincoln's knowledge of the city's problems and his practical solutions. For once, it feels like Gotham might have a politician who actually cares. But suddenly, their pleasant discussion gets interrupted in the worst possible way. Two security guards stumble out of the elevator, bleeding heavily and barely conscious. They collapse to the ground right in front of Bruce and Lincoln, leaving trails of blood across the expensive floor. A dark figure appears from the shadows of the elevator, moving with deadly precision. Before Lincoln can say anything or even react, the mysterious assassin throws a blade with perfect accuracy. The knife hits Lincoln directly in the chest, and he goes down immediately. Seeing this attack, Bruce rushes forward to neutralize the threat. He keeps his moves simple and basic, making sure not to blow his cover as Batman. He can't use his advanced fighting techniques without revealing his secret identity to Lincoln and anyone else who might be watching. As Bruce grabs the attacker in a chokehold, he immediately notices something strange. This person doesn't feel like a normal human. The assassin is more resistant to his grip, stronger than he should be. He's potentially on some kind of enhancement drug, something that makes him tougher and harder to take down. The unexpected resistance stops Bruce from being able to neutralize him quickly.
Bruce Wayne, the Court of Owls has sentenced you to die.
In an unexpected turn of events, Bruce Wayne is kicked out of the tower, literally. The impact breaks the supposedly indestructible glass, hit at the perfect spot with perfect technique and incredible strength. The Talon clearly knows how Wayne Tower was built and where its weak points are located. As Bruce falls down the floors, he tries to grab onto a Guardian statue that his grandfather made as a symbol of the old Wayne Tower. But his opponent keeps stabbing him during his fall, not giving him any chance to recover or find solid ground. Even though the Talon seems to have prepared everything perfectly for Wayne's assassination, he doesn't know something that Bruce does. A 13th Guardian was secretly installed by Alan's son, Harry, designed to keep an eye on Gotham's visitors arriving by air. This hidden statue becomes Bruce's salvation. The mysterious villain makes a critical mistake. During his attack, he falls down to certain death, landing hard on a car below and crushing it to pieces. The impact is so severe that nobody could survive it. Or so it seems.
Whoever that was that just tried to kill me, he was good. But he made one mistake. He tried to use Gotham's legends against me. But I'm the only legend this city needs.
However, the story doesn't end there. After the masked assassin gets taken away in an ambulance to the hospital, something impossible happens. He rises from the dead like nothing happened, murders everyone present at the scene, and drives away with the ambulance. Meanwhile, in the Gotham of the past, we discover something chilling about Bruce's family history. In 1922, we see that Bruce's father, Alan Wayne, was running through town like a crazy man. He begged for help from anyone who would listen, screaming that they were everywhere and that their nests were even in his own home. The old man's behavior worried everyone who saw him. When he finally found two officers who seemed concerned about his situation, tragedy struck. While the officers weren't paying attention to where they were walking, Alan seemed to have fallen down a manhole. Back in Gotham Present, Bruce decides to take action. He interrogates gang members across the city, specifically targeting the ones who hang around the railways. The masked figure most likely used the underground tunnels for his assassination attempt, so these criminals might have had something useful. However, none of them have any information about the mysterious attacker.
But I tell you the truth, I don't know anything about this owl man.
Batman goes back to the Batcave to analyze the kidnapper's voice from the crime scene recording. He runs it through every database he has, comparing it to known criminals, assassins, and mercenaries from around the world. But no matches come up. The voice analysis shows nothing, like this person doesn't exist in any system. Batman then asks Alfred if he has any clue about what's going on. The butler has served the Wayne family for decades, so maybe he remembers something that could help solve this mystery. As bizarre as it seems, Alfred only recalls that Bruce's great-grandfather died going crazy about owls. The old man had become so obsessed with them that Alan boarded up his windows to keep them out. He even kept them in the background in a portrait he made before his death. The discussion sparks an idea in Bruce's head. Superstitions are part of cities, even Gotham, and his great-grandfather Alan Wayne knew that better than anyone. Alan was one of the first men to eliminate the 13th floor from his buildings, leaving an empty space in structures to contain all the supposed bad luck. Batman pieces it all together. His great-grandfather talking about the owls in the walls, the secret floors in the buildings, the empty spaces where the 13th floor should be. It all started making sense now. The nests his grandfather spoke about weren't just in his imagination. They were real hiding spots built into the buildings themselves, hiding in those missing 13th floors that everyone forgot about over the years. Batman realizes that the nests were there in his great-grandfather's buildings all along, waiting in the shadows for decades. These secret spaces gave the Court of Owls the perfect hiding spots to watch and plan their moves throughout Gotham City. When he investigates the most recent owl nest he discovered, Batman accidentally activates a tripwire that triggers an explosion. The blast blows the whole floor into pieces, sending debris flying everywhere and filling the air with smoke and dust. The explosion is more scare than harm though, and Batman isn't easily frightened. He's faced worse threats than booby traps, and this won't stop him from getting to the truth. Back at the cave, Batman examines the remains of his grandfather Alan. Dick talks to him at the same time, expressing everyone's concerns. The whole team is worried that Bruce is underestimating his opponent and still denying the existence of the Court of Owls despite all the evidence. But Bruce reveals something that surprises everyone. He admits that he has looked into the court before, and not just recently. He investigated them extensively after his parents' death, driven by a young boy's desperate need for answers.
I was lost. I couldn't accept it, that some plain old Joe Chill, some no-name, had killed my parents over nothing but pocket change and pearls.
Deep down, the young Bruce believed that something bigger was behind all of this. He'd heard about the legends while growing up, whispered stories that made children afraid to sleep at night. But his parents, especially his father, always laughed at the idea of a secret society controlling Gotham. Even so, before his parents' death, something strange occurred that he never forgot. In the older version of the nursery rhyme, there's a line about the omens of the court. They say the owls send signs before striking, warnings that only the wise pay attention to. As his parents had ignored these signs, they died that horrible night in Crime Alley. Since that day, young Master Wayne vowed revenge upon the court. He tried with all of his might to find and expose them, spending countless hours researching and investigating every lead. But he ended up with nothing but disappointment and dead ends. Since then, he had made a promise to himself. He would never let his emotions guide him on a case again. Logic and evidence would be his only tools, not childhood fears and superstitions. Speaking of evidence, after analyzing his grandfather's remains, Batman found something important. There's a clue pointing to a location in the sewers where his grandfather died all those years ago. The bones revealed trace amounts of specific minerals only found in certain parts of Gotham's underground. But what Bruce doesn't know is that this lead will bring him to his lowest point. As he examines a secret passage down in the dark sewers, the mysterious antagonist strikes out of the shadows without warning. The Talon bashes Bruce into the wall so hard that he falls into a pit of darkness. He lands in what turns out to be a massive labyrinth deep underground. Now he's stranded in this maze for what will become a whole week of torment. As everyone above wonders where the Dark Knight has gone, our hero begins slowly falling into madness below. The court has been planning this trap for a long time, and they know exactly how to break even the strongest minds. The only source of water the court provides Batman in this labyrinth comes from a fountain that's clearly been drugged. The contaminated water causes Batman to see strange visions and make him lose his senses bit by bit. In the midst of his broken mind, Batman experiences something he rarely feels: genuine fear. Like prey hiding from its predator, like a bat hiding from an owl, he realizes the court is playing psychological games with him. The court uses the complex labyrinth to tell him a story, showing him portraits of everyone they killed throughout Gotham's history. They place his portrait later on in the sequence, making it clear that he's just another victim in their long line of murders. The walls display the names of all the people involved in this conspiracy, going back for centuries. Bruce sees the coffins of young men and women who were turned into Talons to kill for the court, each coffin representing a life stolen and twisted into a weapon of death. Batman's mental state isn't helping him either. He's losing his mind in this nightmarish maze, so much so that he starts hallucinating. The worst vision comes when he sees his parents approaching him in the darkness.
Mother? Father? Bruce! My God!
Is it really him? Thomas, is it?
It's me. Yes, but how? How? We've been down here so long, Bruce. Waiting. It's you, isn't it? It's me. I found you. I found you.
What seems like a heartwarming reunion quickly transforms into terror. Suddenly, owls rip through Thomas and Martha's head, tearing them apart right in front of Bruce's eyes. The creatures attack Batman next, their claws and beaks going for his chest. If these horrible hallucinations weren't enough torture, the Talon comes out of nowhere and stabs Batman right through the stomach. The blade goes deep, and blood starts pouring from the wound as Batman collapses to the ground. The assassin beats him down like a dog while he's bleeding and struggling to stay conscious. But the court isn't satisfied with just defeating him. They want more suffering, more pain, more complete destruction of Gotham's protector. So the Talon goes even further with his attack. When Batman is lying helpless on the floor, barely breathing, the court members themselves decide that they want to finish him personally. They want to tear him limb from limb and rearrange his organs like some sick art project.
Blood filling all the wrong places. Whole body, every bone, saying let go, and let them take you.
As Batman lies on the verge of death, his life slipping away with each heartbeat, he thinks about his great-grandfather. Alan Wayne was in the same situation decades ago, scared and begging for someone to help him stop the owls. Bruce realizes he has to be that someone today. This nightmare can't keep going, not while he still has breath in his lungs. With the last bit of his strength, he pulls himself together and breaks free from the owl's grasp. The pain is incredible, but his determination is stronger. He takes on the Talon in a fierce battle, and they exchange blows throughout the labyrinth. But this time things are different. Batman isn't the scared, confused prey he was when he first fell into this nightmare. Gnashing his fangs and beating his wings like the creature he's named after, he proves to the Talon that he is Gotham's true legend. All of the court's members are just garbage compared to the Dark Knight's justice. Batman beats the Talon down, getting revenge for all the torture he went through in this underground hell. Every punch carries the weight of his suffering. Every strike pays back the court for their cruelty. He gets out through explosives he crafted with components from a camera he slipped out of a previous room. The blast creates an opening in the labyrinth wall, giving him a path to freedom that the court never planned for. At this moment, Bruce only thinks about one thing: go home and never come back to this place. He swims along the river that runs under the labyrinth, desperately trying to reach the surface and safety. But the water is freezing cold, and he gets stuck under a frozen layer of ice above him. It's thick and solid, trapping him beneath like a glass ceiling he can't break.
Can't get away. Can't break through the ice. They won't ever let me go. The court. I'm already dead, aren't I?
As Batman sinks down towards certain death, visions appear before him. But it's not his life flashing before his eyes like people say happens. Instead, he sees visions of himself as he truly existed. A bat, but also a prey of the owls, completely at their mercy. The visions show him getting killed and devoured by this vicious predator that has ruled Gotham from the shadows for centuries. But Bruce doesn't give a damn about these visions anymore. With help from an old friend of his, he resisted these dark images and fought his way back to the land of the living. This near-death experience changes him completely. He is no longer the owl's prey that he was in the labyrinth. The court tried to break him, but they only made him stronger. Meanwhile, the court reanimates a new Talon to replace the one Batman destroyed. But they don't stop there. Soon, they'll have an entire army of these undead assassins, all better and stronger than the previous ones.
Yes. Open those eyes for us. Open your eyes for your court. You have traveled so far, from the banks of the river Leth, the river of forgetfulness, where the shades walk, back to this world, to your city, Gotham.
Back at the Batcave, Bruce is frightened just at the sight of the old Talon's remains. The dead assassin lies on the examination table, looking like he could spring back to life at any moment. Alfred reassures him that the creature isn't alive anymore. The butler explains that they discovered the body frozen in the river near the spot where they found Bruce. The cold water preserved the Talon's remains perfectly, allowing them to study what makes these assassins so deadly. They run tests on the dead Talon to understand how he works. The results reveal something incredible and terrifying at the same time. These Talons are specially prepared bodies that have been brought back to life through advanced science. The bodies get injected with Electrum, a compound capable of reanimating dead tissue. The substance makes these zombies nearly indestructible, able to survive wounds that would kill any normal person. The Electrum flows through their veins like liquid metal, giving them superhuman strength and endurance. By the time their bodies are full of this compound, they become walking conductors just waiting for a spark to activate them. The owl-embedded tooth they found in the John Doe's body, that was the ignition, the device used to bring the Talon back to life. But during their investigation, they discover something else that changes everything. This dead body standing right in front of them belongs to Dick's great-grandfather. Even though at first it doesn't seem like meaningful information to Dick or anyone else, Batman realizes the horrible truth. Without warning, Batman strikes Dick's face, causing something to pop out. It's an exact replica of the owl-embedded tooth hidden in Dick's mouth for years. The court had been planning to use Dick as their next Talon.
You were supposed to be one too, Dick. I was supposed to be a Talon?
The revelation hits everyone like a punch in the gut. Dick was meant to become one of these undead killers, turned against everything he believes in. Only Bruce's decision to adopt him prevented this nightmare from happening. But even though Batman prevented this catastrophe from occurring, they're not safe from danger. As they speak, the Court of Owls has already put their plan into motion. They've reanimated a whole army of Talons, each one stronger and better than the previous generation. All of these undead assassins have one sole mission: taking back Gotham City and killing the Batman who dared to defy their ancient power. The court has been patient for over a century, but now they're ready to reclaim their city. They've prepared for this moment, gathering their strongest talents and perfecting their reanimation process. Gotham will finally bow to the Court of Owls. How will our heroes face this great threat? Will they survive this battle against an army of the undead? Can the Bat go beyond his nature and finally triumph against the Owls? Find out in the next video.